Well, welcome to Good Morning Cannabis, and I have my friend Enrique Lavin. Did I say it right?
You did. Thank you.
And okay, and Enrique is a uh, publicist and editor for the New Jersey Cannabis Insider, which I follow very closely. So he's going to tell us a little bit more about himself. But Enrique, what we normally ask everyone on this first call is, what is the craziest thing or the most memorable thing that ever happened to you?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually, Todd. And a lot of memorable moments when you have a family, of course. But I want to say craziest, which kind of started my career as a journalist. This was maybe 30 years ago in California. I was at the Nixon Library, invited as a journalist to cover the it was a release party for Jurassic Park. So I don't remember
Oh,
when the first one was out, but they were touting. Remember, the technology back then was
yeah.
really with just the computer animated dinosaurs. One of the guest stars that was there was Timothy Leary, the godfather of LSD. And it was, for my mind, my young mind at the time, and I had been reading about Leary at the time, and beat poets at the time as well, and that whole period. And so my mind wasn't connecting between the Nixon Library and Timothy Leary. And I worshipped Timothy Leary at the time.
Sure.
And so was in the bathroom, and he happened to walk into the bathroom. It's like, as tongue tied as I could be, I just asked him, Mr. Leary, what are you doing here at the Nixon Library? And he said, is that all you have to ask me? Took off. So yeah, I regret not having my best journalism skills at hand at the time. So many things you could ask Timothy Leary, but what is he doing at the Nixon Library was not the one. Yes, that
That's
was that.
that definitely should be written down somewhere for sure. So a little bit about yourself before we get into some more specific questions. How long have you been in journalism? You just told a story about where you kind of got started, and how did you end up with the New Jersey Cannabis Insider Group? Just a few thoughts.
Yeah. So I'll give you the 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 quick summary here. So I started in LA. I was a stringer at the LA Times. I was covering Canadian news. Started there, and then I moved over. Sort of got these mini promotions to do feature stories, and my interest was really in the arts. So I started covering really Latin arts. Was being undercovered at the time,
Yep.
arts and music, and there was an opportunity by the late 90s to work anywhere in the world. And so I had established myself as a music critic, particularly in the Latin music world. And I fell in love with a girl here in New Jersey. She was still going to Rutgers University. And I said, well, look, I could freelance in California. I could freelance in Alaska. Why don't I just go freelance in New Jersey? And that's what brought me here. I had applied to two jobs. One was at the Star Ledger, where they had a community news reporter position open, and another one as a music critic for a small magazine in New York that was covering college radio music, and they wanted to start a Latin alternative college radio music. I guess it's a radio list like Billboard top 40. We did top 25. And so I said, I'm going to go to New York and not do newspapers at the time. That was in the year 2000.
Okay.
But I was freelancing for the Star Ledger and about Latin music, even because I interviewed with them, and they said, look, I want to do music. I don't want to do community news. And so a couple of years later, after the dot-com crash, because this magazine was attached to the dot-com crash, I started looking for newspaper jobs, felt home at newspapers. And I went to the Home News Tribune. Actually, I started a Spanish language weekly for the Home News Tribune, covering a Middlesex County. And it was great. It's a lot of fun. But the editor I was freelancing for at the Star Ledger said, "Hey, I just got a job at the New York Times. You want my job?" I said, "I do." Her job was the weekend entertainment, arts and entertainment editor for Ticket from Star Ledger.
Right.
And so, yeah, I've been here at StarLedgerNJ.com for almost 20 years. It's my 19th year.
Wow.
And so I moved up from covering the arts for many years. I became the features editor, so I did everything. So I was in charge of the food and travel and food garden and all that. And when NJ.com and the Star Ledger merged, I came over to on the digital side of things. And I became the opinion editor. I guess this is maybe 5-6 years ago, right before the 2016 elections. And right around that time, Murphy was talking about running for governor. So as an organization, we said we should cover cannabis and we should cover the business side of it. And so the company took a position that we're going to be pro cannabis, because usually newspapers don't take positions. And we created NJ Cannabis Insider, thinking, of course, that after Murphy would be elected 100 days later, we'd have a bill on his desk and so on. So the way I got the job was I like to say this, is that there was two guys in the newsroom with long hair. The one guy, he was winning Emmy Awards. He's world-class videographer. And then there was me. And so that's how I got this job.
That's great. So they said it, the guy with the long hair. Well, so let's talk a little bit about cannabis. So for the people who are listening today, and you've been covering the stories for a while, what are some noteworthy things that, even some surprises that have come out for you as you've been following this as a journalist? I'd be very interested in hearing your viewpoints, especially as it relates to New Jersey, since that's where we are.
Yeah, so I'm still surprised about the disconnect between government, local government, and what popular opinion is. So most New Jerseyans, close to 70%, and nationally really believe weed should be legalized and sold at every corner, accessible like you might get alcohol, right?
Sure.
And but the surprise is that there's still so many towns who are acting as if that's not what the majority of their constituents believe. So that remains a little bit of a surprise, and we continue to cover that aspect of it. It's 1/5 of the towns in New Jersey have opted in. We're hearing good news that after the opening, that there may be a domino effect where more towns want to opt in. Because of the benefits, not only as a service to their community, but seeing the benefit of revitalizing their downtowns. We've gone through a terrible couple of years with COVID, and then the revenue that the town might generate from it and the jobs it would create. So the other aspect has been I was really. I shouldn't have been so surprised, but I was happily surprised about the camaraderie in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
You come into this industry and you're willing to share and you're willing to grow together. We have really feel like you're part of a community that's doing good.
Right.
There's money, of course,
right.
But even in the context of the money, there's some good that can be done with that money, the social equity aspect of it. And I do remain surprised about that. It does remind me a lot about the music industry that I used to cover, because you're sort of elevating artists. Here you're sort of elevating the plant scientifically and economically.
It's amazing. So a question for you that we ask everyone too is, how did you get involved in cannabis? Where did your interest start? And where does your interest go from here?
That's a great question, Todd. I've been cannabis aware for most of my life. I was born in Ecuador, did my grammar school in California, but then I did all of my high school in Ecuador. And in Ecuador, you could say it's a cannabis country. I mean, we're surrounded by Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, really fertile for cannabis. And so it was around when I was in high school. And then in California, of course, I was around it as well when I came back. I was in Southern California in the LA Basin area, Long Beach, for the most part. And so there was a pot culture there that I was very much part of. And so the beginnings of legalization was happening when I was still there. And so again, always aware of the plant in my life and how unfair the idea that this plant would be illegal and the harm that we are as a society putting on people who consume it. Never
Right.
seen it there. So, but as a journalist, I kind of stayed away from it. I didn't want to be pigeonholed as being the hippie from the West Coast. And so when legalization happened, I was in our newsroom decided to create positions to cover it. I said, look, if I was 5-10 years, probably 10 years younger, I would have been the reporter to cover this. And that kind of stuck in the management's mind. So, oh, you were interested in covering it if it was happening. How about being the editor publisher for this publication? So,
That's great.
yeah,
that's great. So Enrique, this is wonderful. If people wanted to find you or to follow you, how could they actually get in touch with you? Where should they go?
Yeah, I invite everybody to find me on LinkedIn. It's
Okay.
really the only social media that I've really used these days. And I've met a lot of great people there. If you look at my LinkedIn, there's half of them are like Latin music business
Awesome.
related, or the arts, local arts in New Jersey, because I covered it for so long. And then the rest are cannabis. So my name, you can find it. I think I'm the only one that has the / Enrique Lavin on LinkedIn. And of course, you can email me directly if you like. It's elavin, ELAVIN at njadvancedmedia.com. You can find me directly there.
And they should also subscribe, obviously, to.
I would encourage you that if you're in the business, cannabis business in the state, that you should subscribe. We have several tiers. The entry point is monthly subscription. We believe that you'll find it valuable enough that you'll subscribe for a yearly, because we don't only put out a weekly publication online, but we do events where people connect with each other. I mean, this is the one thing that we've made a mission for ourselves, is not only to give you the best information possible that you could have at your fingertips to expand and grow your business, but also to meet the right people like
Right.
Todd. I mean, this is no lie. When I host events, it's like the people that we bring together are the people you're supposed to meet. The sponsors that we bring on board, you should meet them because they are knowledgeable and educators, and they're going to help your business. So I think that's a big deal for us.
I highly support what you guys are doing, and if any of the listeners haven't come to one of your events, they really need to, because they're top notch. That's my opinion.
Thanks. Well, our next meetup is July 14th.
Okay.
In Asbury Park,
Awesome.
and then we have a terrific. We have another terrific conference coming up in September.
Great. You'll see me there with my top hat.
Fantastic. I may wear my hat next time.
There you go. You wear your hat, I'll wear my hat. So it's a deal. So thank you, Enrique, for spending some time on Good Morning Cannabis. And I will see you at the next event. So take care.
Thanks so much, Todd, for having me. And thanks everyone out there for listening.
Thank you.